Good morning everybody and welcome to Safari TV on this beautiful spring morning. There's such a stunning sunrise over a few clouds in the distance, and directly opposite the moon is behind us. Such a beautiful morning this morning. We're broadcasting live from here in Djuma Game Reserve in South Africa. My name's Tara. I'm going to be your guide this morning for about 3 hours or so, depending on what we see. And joining me on the back of Genda is Alex. So Sebastian has actually gone on leave, he went yesterday, so he's going to be away for a little while. And also in file control we have Mark, and if you do have any questions you'd like to ask as we're driving along, we can answer them in real time, and Mark will send them through via the radio so that I can answer them for you live. So if you would like to try that, see if it works, then all you do is send them through to final control at safari.tv, and Mark will be able to send them through for me. So that's the three of us, and hopefully we will be able to... You can hear the francolins in the background there. Hopefully we'll be able to find some wonderful animals for you this morning, or some trees or anything of interest that the bush has to offer. And if anybody has heard any unusual sounds around by the dam during the day or during the night, then please let me know. It always helps to have something to follow up on in the morning. I can hear a few birds calling. The dawn chorus is going to come into full effect very soon. The crested franklin's calling in the background, and some Birchall starlings also calling. Beautiful. Oh, there's a kudu just to our right. Looking at something, not too sure what it's looking at. Can you get it through there? Or should I say? Can you get it through there? Yeah. It's looking very interested in something. I actually just saw the white tail. I wonder if there is something walking there. There's another female a little bit further back to the right, and she's also looking in the same direction. I can also hear Graham out on his quad bike looking for the baboons, and I wonder if they're looking and listening at that. Let's drive on a little bit and just see if we can see what they're seeing.
Good morning. How are you? Dodge, good morning. Coming down that side. I've got the best for Raul. Also tried to just on where I left the bus part. You know, try to do that thing that I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm coming along Garine, competitive and with all that time. There was a left somewhere on Bruno West End area. Go that side of town, to the comment that we have to Kaya. Okay, coming back. Is that the only event that side, Andrew? Okay, minutes. Just over time.
She's looking more down that way, and I heard Graham more to the left of where we are. Remember, they've got extremely good eyesight. Not seeing any movement at the moment, but she's still looking. Just getting an update on where the guys are heading out this morning. A grey lurry, and that one's not calling. It's actually flown off. The other female is actually turned around. She's looking in the opposite direction now. So I do wonder if they were actually catching the sound of the quad bike, maybe. But she's still looking more towards the drainage line. We'll have a quick drive around there and just see if there is anything. I thought I just heard the distant call of a tree squirrel as well. It's quite a high-pitched trill, almost. You can still hear it. Morning all stations, Tara was running guide this morning, heading down towards Treehouse down the coast. Sounds like Texan and Andrew are going to try and see if they can have a look for the wild dogs somewhere in the north again. So I'm sure if they see them, they'll let us know. If they do come down onto our traversing area. If we have any new viewers, that's roughly about 1,000 hectares. And we actually broadcast out of Juma Game Reserve, as I said earlier, which is part of the world famous Sabi Sands. It's world famous especially for the leopard activity and the fact that leopards walk around the vehicles without a care. In a lot of places, because of the persecution, they're still very, very skittish around humans. The Sabi Sands has been a game reserve for quite a number of years now, and that has helped them to get used to the fact that the vehicles aren't a threat to them. People aren't going to shoot at them. And they actually help to make up, or Sabi Sands makes up part of the greater Kruger. The fences have been dropped between Kruger National Park and the Sabi Sands to allow the animals to move around quite freely. So they can disperse quite naturally. I'm wondering if she was seeing giraffe maybe. There were some giraffe tracks heading down this way. So she's just off to the right now. Let's see if we can get the direction that she was looking in. No, she's actually looking away from us. She's looking. So maybe whatever she saw might be moving in the drainage line. As I say, she's not running away. It doesn't seem to be close enough to be a threat, whatever it is. It might not even be a predator at all. We'll see if we can move a bit further along. Maybe have a look into the drainage line. See what it is that's caught her eye. Some of you might be wondering why we wait a little while before we turn the vehicle on. This is a diesel engine, so it has glow plugs to warm up the fuel, and that's what you have to wait for. So you have to wait for a little light to turn green to say that the fuel's warm enough that it will start the engine to work. The squirrel calling. If animals feel that they are far enough away from a predator, they don't necessarily need to run away from it. If they've spotted it, they don't need to waste energy on running away. If they've spotted it and the predator has also seen that they've been spotted, then it's lost its cover. So it's not really worth wasting the energy trying to stalk something that's already seen you. As I say, it could have been that there was just something unusual that caught her eye and she wasn't too bothered about it. It just happened to catch her eye and had both of the females focused just to make sure it's what they thought it was. So whatever it was, they don't seem to be too bothered about it now. You can hear the hoopoe calling. Hoop, hoop, hoop. So you can see the huge ears of the kudu, and they act like satellite dishes, picking up every little bit of sound. And that's possibly one of the theories as to why they do have large ears. They tend to stick more into the thicker bush, and obviously their eyesight is going to be obscured by all the bush. So if they have the large ears, helps them to detect predators a lot more easily. It could also be to help keep them cool, just like an elephant's ear, with a lot more blood vessels in those ears, more blood pumped into the ears. It's a thinner skin to allow heat just to be given off and help to keep the animal a little bit cooler. all seems quiet. So we'll keep moving up to Zoe's Road and just see if there's anything that pops out there. See anything moving around? Can't see any heads of giraffes moving from me. Alex being a little bit taller than me at the back there. Those of you who are living in the northern hemisphere, you might have a chance to see a very bright comet this month. Unfortunately, for those of us in the south, not really going to get a chance to see it unless you live close to the equator. It's actually going to be, we will be able to see it through binoculars quite nicely. Apparently that's the best way to see it, but you will be able to see it with the naked eye. Hartley 2. Apparently it has an orbit of about 6 years. And Hartley is one of the people who happened to find it. He's also found another comet, that's why it's called Hartley 2. And it didn't always have the route that it does have now. Apparently it interacted with Jupiter and the orbit was actually changed. We're gonna head towards Unbury Road. Apparently there's some rhino up that side. So with the kudu turning around, not really paying too much attention, not really seeing anything.
Okay, you got them now? Yeah, that's... Okay, cool, thank you. I'll make my way down.
Takes a bit. Good morning, can I possibly join you? Lovely, thank you. Hi Elizabeth, welcome on board this morning, and just making an observation that the kudu look a bit like the white-tailed deer that you have in America. And do we have deer here, and are kudu antelope? Yes Elizabeth, kudu are antelope, and we do have deer here in South Africa, but we shouldn't really have them. They've actually been introduced. Fallow deer, and I believe the spotted deer as well from Asia have also been introduced here. So unfortunately, even though we're not supposed to have deer, we do have deer. And generally, obviously it's not a strict rule, but generally you find deer more in the northern hemisphere and antelope in the southern hemisphere. Asia is one of the few continents that have a mixture of both. I've been lucky enough to actually work with a few Asian species of antelope. Nilgai or bluebook is another one of their names, and Nilgai are actually quite a lot larger than the kudu here. They've got fairly short horns. They do have quite a blue hint to their fur. They also have blackbuck, which look a cross between a dark impala with kudu horns. They actually have the spiral horns that twist around. And that's one of the prey species of the Bengal tiger. Young nilgai will probably also be a Bengal tiger's food as well. Maybe even an adult, if it's right, the circumstances are right. Say one of the big differences between the antelope and deer is that the antelopes don't shed the horns, the deers do every year. So that's one of the big differences. And also if you have a look at the horns and the antlers, they are slightly different. And the antlers of a deer will have skin covering the bone. And that skin gets a velvet on it. Takes a minute. the horns on the antelope actually have keratin, which cover the horns rather than skin and velvet. And that keratin doesn't get shed at all throughout its life. It stays on the horn. But the reason for them is the same thing. It's for fighting and defense of both the different species, or all the species. And in deer, only the caribou or reindeer, the females have antlers. In all the other deer, or most of all the other deer, there may be one species or two species I don't know about, but to my knowledge it's only the reindeer or caribou where the females have the antlers as well as the male. All the rest, only the males have antlers, and they tend to be branched as well. Whereas the horns of an antelope doesn't tend to have any branches on it. Now I'm picking up the pace a little bit because Tex has actually found wild dogs. They've actually come back down from the north. So I'm seeing if we can maybe try and get to see them. And the reason for this is we don't see them very often, so we take every opportunity that comes our way when they do come onto our part of the reserve. We're on a Vubu road now. And I think there's been quite a lot of activity around the hyena den this morning in terms of vehicles. Can't see anything going on. About the comet as well. Just to tell you where the comet is. You know, the constellation Cassiopeia. It actually looks like quite a big W. It's a very distinctive constellation in the northern hemisphere. You can draw a big W or an M. That's Cassiopeia, and it's going to be just below that. That's the constellation to look out for. You should be able to see part of the tail of the comet, and obviously it will move from its position each night, so you should be able to track it for a few days. That's in the northern hemisphere, but you'll be able to see that. That's Hartley 2. It's the closest comet that has come to Earth for over a century now. 11,000 miles away from Earth, which in space terms is not that great a distance. It's not going to cause a problem. I believe NASA are actually going to try and meet up with it and take pictures, so you might be able to see pictures of it at some stage and track its development. Hi, John. John English. Welcome on board this afternoon, this morning even. I'm getting confused because you're in America. John's saying that they have pronghorn antelope. What's been quite interesting, John, we've actually had quite a huge debate on here a while ago, and it turns out pronghorn aren't actually classified as antelope or deer. They're actually in a family all on their own, which is quite interesting because they have keratin horns that branch. That was one of the main differences. But many years ago, there would have been more species in that family that share the same characteristics as the pronghorn.
I was
You did say we had to go west, but I can't see a vehicle at the moment.
I'll go back to that side as well.
Ah, there we go. That's why.
Yeah, what's the other one?
Eastern side. Tex said to go west. No, I think so. It's actually in the east. Go Ephraim. Tex said to go west from Mvubu, so that's where I went, but I've just heard you're east of Type 40 Dam, so I'm making my way back that side. Well, thanks, I should be with you in a few minutes. Now it's actually quite interesting. It sounds like the pups are here, and it sounds like the adults might make their way over to where the pups are, and hopefully we might actually get to see some really nice interactions with the adults and the pups with any luck. I haven't seen the rhino that was supposed to be up here on the Ruby Road. I think they may have cut off into the bush somewhere. So that's where we're actually going to see if we can catch up with them. Okay, I see Ephraim up there. Now Tamboti Dam isn't marked on the map. If anybody is following us on the map, this is Tamboti Dam just here. You can only see the dam wall. It's actually on Booker's Hook property. Oh, that's why rhinos have actually crossed over. I wonder if they're actually on the dam. We saw the rhino tracks. So that'd be why we couldn't see the rhino then. The family that the pronghorn belonged to. I wonder if someone can actually look that up for me. I forget now. It's a while since we were discussing it. Antelope capridae, thanks Mark. Antelope 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 10 dogs here. Beautiful. Patiently waiting for what the adults are going to bring them. See them okay there? 11 dogs. I'm not sure whether they should follow or not.
Spaghetti junction heading north.
It sounds like the adults are on the way.
That's what was that? Indian concept from Spaghetti junction. Comparing to the north.
I'm going to see if I can just move so that we're on this side of the vehicle. Good, how are you doing?
I'm going for the English this morning.
Okay, did you hear if they've got some consoles at Spaghetti Junction?
Yes, I hear them.
Awesome.
Okay, I think I'm going to looking for the English now.
Awesome, I think I'll stay with the dogs for a little while.
Okay, yeah,
Thanks a
the
lot.
other one now is, and they say it's coming back.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome to try and see.
Yeah.
Enjoy everyone.
That's it, yeah.
Just see if I can just move up a little bit again. And try and keep up with them. This really is fantastic. Yeah, and the pups are in a very playful mood. So I want to try and keep up with them if I can. The adult that's babysitting, I think, is actually going to take the pups to the other adults. So he looks like waiting for him to follow. They just seem to be in such a playful mood. See if we can Look at what these pups are doing here. You see them through there. You see they're about half the size of the adult at the moment. A little bit smaller than a Jack Russell, than a German Shepherd. Our wild dogs are diurnal hunters. They will hunt if it's full moon, but they don't need to worry about sneaking up onto prey or anything like the cats do. Think about leopards, they need to camouflage, hide themselves away and try and get as close to the prey as possible. Same with cheetah, same with lion. They need to try and